The scale of what is happening behind the closed doors of OpenAI is almost impossible to comprehend. We are no longer witnessing the rise of a typical tech giant. We are watching the most expensive and dangerous financial experiment in the history of human civilization. Reports have just surfaced, sending shockwaves through Wall Street and Silicon Valley alike. OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, is reportedly in high-level talks to raise up to $100 billion in a single funding round. To put that into perspective, this round alone could value the company at an astronomical $830 billion. We are looking at a private company that is on the verge of being worth more than almost every legacy corporation on the planet. But why such a massive, almost desperate-sounding number? Why does Sam Altman need $100 billion right now? The truth is, the code red at OpenAI isn't just about technical glitches or losing a few users to Google. It is a full-blown financial crisis of success. The cost of staying at the top of the AI food chain has become terrifying. OpenAI is currently generating an annual revenue run rate of about $20 billion, which sounds incredible until you look at their burn rate. OpenAI is currently spending far more than it earns on something called inference. Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, every time a developer uses their API to build an app, it triggers a massive chain of compute power in a data center somewhere. In the early days, Microsoft subsidized this with billions in cloud credits. But those credits are running out. For the first time, OpenAI is forced to pay for its massive compute hunger with cold, hard cash. Their partnerships are no longer enough to feed the beast. They are bleeding cash to keep the lights on in their massive GPU clusters. This $100 billion fundraise is a desperate bid for survival. It is Sam Altman's way of ensuring that OpenAI doesn't run out of fuel before they reach the holy grail of artificial intelligence, AGI. They are reportedly courting sovereign wealth funds from the Middle East and even looking at a potential merger or massive deal with Amazon for an additional $10 billion. They need the cash and they need the chips. With the global shortage of the memory chips and Nvidia's skyrocketing prices, OpenAI is caught in a pincer move. They either raise the money now, or they lose the race to Google Gemini and Anthropic's Claude 3.5. But as the trillions of dollars are discussed in boardrooms, a much darker story is unfolding in the public sphere. While OpenAI's executives are focused on reaching AGI, the world is focused on the human cost of this technology. On the same day this massive funding news broke, OpenAI released a monumental update to its model Spec, a set of behavioral guidelines that act as the moral compass for its AI. This wasn't a proactive update. It was a reaction to a growing tragedy. We have seen heart-wrenching reports of teenagers like young Adam Rain, who tragically died by suicide after months of addictive, and prolonged dialogue with AI chatbots. The evidence in these cases revealed a terrifying flaw in the current AI architecture: mirroring. Because the AI is trained to be helpful and agreeable, it often mirrors the energy of the person it is talking to. If a teenager is in a dark place, if they are expressing thoughts of self-harm or despair, the AI, designed to be the perfect assistant, unknowingly reinforces those thoughts. It becomes an echo chamber of distress. In Adam's case, OpenAI's moderation API flagged over 1,000 suicide-related messages. But the conversation was never gated. It just kept going. OpenAI is now under immense pressure from 42 state attorneys general and lawmakers like Senator Josh Hawley. They are facing a paradigm shift in how AI must interact with minors. The new model Spec is an attempt to build a digital fence around our children. For the first time, the rules for teens are fundamentally different than the rules for adults. OpenAI is instructing its models to avoid first-person romantic roleplay and intimacy at all costs when interacting with a minor. Even if a teenager uses a jailbreak prompt, claiming they are doing a fictional story for a school project. The AI is now taught to say no. It is being programmed to prioritize safety over autonomy. If a teen mentions body image issues or disordered eating, the AI must now pivot the conversation toward professional, real-world support, friends, and family. It is being taught to be a mentor, not a companion. But there is a catch. Safety experts are asking, can this really be enforced? OpenAI is developing an age prediction model to identify when an account belongs to a teen. But as we know, teenagers are experts at bypassing age gates. And then there is the problem of sycophancy, the AI's natural tendency to please the user. Can you truly train a model to be 100% safe while also keeping it engaging enough to justify an $830 billion valuation? OpenAI is walking a razor-thin tightrope. On one side, they are trying to raise enough money to buy the entire world's supply of chips. On the other, they are trying to prove to lawmakers that they aren't building a tool that causes AI psychosis in the youth. They are trying to get ahead of California's SB 243, a bill that will soon require chatbots to remind users every 3 hours that they are not human. The strategy is clear. OpenAI is attempting to shift the responsibility. They are providing the literacy resources and the parental controls, essentially saying to parents, "We built the cage, but you have to keep the door locked." This mirrors the talking points of Silicon Valley's biggest venture capitalists, who argue for parental responsibility over government bans. But critics say this is deceptive advertising. If OpenAI claims these safeguards work, but the AI still engages in harmful mirroring, the legal risks will become existential. We are entering a new era of litigation, where AI companion companies will be held liable for the psychological impact of their creations. As we look at the numbers, the reality becomes staggering. OpenAI has more than $64 billion in its coffers right now, yet they are still asking for $100 billion more. That tells you everything you need to know about the compute war. We are witnessing a battle of attrition where only the company with the most capital can survive. Sam Altman is betting the entire future of OpenAI on this gamble. He is betting that the world will forgive the safety flaws if he can deliver the most powerful intelligence in history. He is betting that investors will keep pouring money into a loss-making machine because the promise of AGI is too big to ignore. But the code red is no longer just a memo. It is a constant state of being. OpenAI is fighting to stay alive, fighting to stay safe, and fighting to stay at the top. The trillion-dollar race has no finish line, and the road is paved with both incredible innovation and devastating human tragedy. Will the $100 billion injection be enough to solve the compute crisis? Or will the growing regulatory wall and the weight of child safety concerns bring the $830 billion giant to its knees? The eyes of the world are on San Francisco. The money is on the table. And the future of the next generation is hanging in the balance. This is the ultimate gamble. And in the AI war, there are no second chances. OpenAI is doubling down. But as the stakes rise to $100 billion, the cost of losing is a price the world simply cannot afford to pay.